everyone, and welcome back. We are in my darkened living room. I'm not wearing any makeup. Most of you know what that means. Okay, usually it means I'm too lazy to do all of that stuff, but today, it means we are finally back for another read-along. I know I took a really long break after I did like 2 back-to-back, and then like my summer got stupidly busy because like apparently life just went back to the way it was, if not worse, after 2020. So today we are back to decide what book we are going to read for our next read-along. If you are unfamiliar with how that works on this channel, it is different from how most other channels do it. I don't know how you found your way here, but welcome. So when I do a read-along, we pick a book that's probably terrible, or let's say flawed. Let's say flawed will be nice. And we tear it apart Mystery Science Theater style.
Robot roll call Cabot. You're on. Gypsy. Dumb servo. Check me out.
Where I make jokes and quips and add clips from increasingly obscure 80s movies. But also I am an author, so I like to take a look at what we as writers can learn from these books. Things the authors are doing well, things that they're doing poorly, what can we take away from it? Because reading is one of the best ways to learn how to write. Who knew? Me. I knew that, and so did probably most of you. So we come here, we relax, we have fun, and it's a good time.
I laughed, I cried, it moved me, Bob.
Today, we are going to pick out the next book. I have been keeping my eyes open for some likely candidates, and I also had some suggestions on YouTube. So it's a good idea, if you want to influence any of my choices, that you subscribe to me. That way, there's at least a mild chance that YouTube will actually show you when I do things like ask for suggestions. I have 4 books that we are going to choose from. I think I usually do 4. Something like that. What's going to happen is you are going to vote in the comments below. 1 vote each unless you are a patron, where you can go vote on my Patreon and your vote will count for 2 votes. It might be worth it. It might be worth it if one of these books really speaks to you. Let's talk about the books that are going to be in this vote. The first one is the oft-requested Cyborg Tinkerer. Yes, you have heard of this one. It was the butt of many a joke at the beginning of the year, I believe, is when it came out, and I could have jumped on that right away and possibly gotten a little bit of a boost for my channel, but I did not want to pile on because it seemed like Meg, the author, was really going through it. This book landed with a real clunk, and I was just like, I don't need to add my voice to that. But time has gone on. I think Meg has kind of had a chance to recover. My video is probably not going to be adding to the shouting voices in her ear that her book is not very good. And who knows, maybe we can find some things in it that we actually do like. Let's read the synopsis. I've got my tablet here. Look, I have a new sticker. It's a kitty dragon for my cat Kinshu, who passed away recently. So if you want some kitty dragons of your very own, check out my Redbubble. The score on this book is pretty poor, and you know we don't like to kick down here, but like I said, I think enough time has passed and Meg has kind of moved on that we're not going to be like punching her while she's down. That's what I didn't want to do. In a deadly circus competition, even hearts are on the line. Gwendolyn Grimm intended to seduce men and women across the galaxy while working as a ship tinkerer in the finest vessels of the Crescent star system. Alas, terminal illness is a buzzkill. When life-saving opportunity struts into her life, dressed in a pinstripe suit, she is made an offer she can't refuse. Become a cyborg and work as a tinkerer for Cirque du Bourg, the once renowned cyborg circus. The problem is, a new law has banned the creation of new cyborgs, and becoming one means execution if caught. Thus, no one cares to see the wonders of man and machine anymore. Well, then why do you still have a circus? Maybe we'll find out. Ticket sales continue to fall as the circus announces a competition to determine which acts will perform for the Emperor on his home planet. An opportunity with the potential to save the circus from bankruptcy. We've got to save the circus! It's like every one of those middle school plots. We have to save the church. We have to save the school. We have to save the band. Except for, with cyborgs and sex.
I'm gonna go build my own theme park with blackjack and hookers.
But the competition has deadly consequences. Losing acts have their cyborg implants forcibly removed, and those who survive the extraction are banished from the circus. Seems like a bad plan? Again, maybe it'll make sense in the book. As a tinkerer, Gwendolyn is forced to perform the revolting task of removing the cyborg implants from the losing performers. When she falls for both the man running the competition and the woman competing in it, she must decide who to protect. But can she risk having to harvest the people she loves the most? Apparently, comp titles include Sarah J. Maas. When you're looking for comps, we're going to have a little chat with Julian. I hate looking for comps. It's obnoxious. I hate it. Because you don't want to use books that are too popular, or else it just seems really disingenuous. And yes, I'm definitely as good as this published and established author, but you can't use books that are too unknown, because then no one knows them. Comp titles are hard and ridiculous, but probably don't compare yourself to Sarah J. Maas. Next up, we have The Cabin, who is by the same author who brought you one of my favorite read-alongs here, and you can go check it out right now, The Cellar. This book actually scored better than The Cyborg Tinkerer, but it does have more votes, so. The more votes you get, the more your score evens out. When you're a small author and your book doesn't have many votes, just like 1 or 2 1-stars will drop it precipitously. So, Natasha's The Cabin. There may only be one killer, but no one is innocent. When Mackenzie treks to a secluded cabin in the woods with 6 friends, she expects a fun week of partying, drinking, and hookups. But when they find 2 of their own dead and covered in blood, it's clear that there's a killer among them. As the police try to unravel the case, Mackenzie launches her own investigation. Before long, secrets start to emerge, revealing a sinister web of sins among the original 7 friends. The killer is still free, and every one of them is a suspect, and Mackenzie starts to realize that no one is innocent. So, this one appealed to me not only because it's an author that we've seen before, and maybe she will have gotten better, but also because it is one of my favorite tropes. I don't think they stay at the cabin, but one of my favorite thriller tropes is a closed circle thriller where they are caught somewhere, trapped in a cabin, trapped on a train, all of that good stuff. So even though I don't think they stay at the cabin, that is too much of a lure for me, and I couldn't resist this one. Next up, we have a book called Elysium. I picked this one because the author is also the author of, I want to say it's called Foxhole Court. The Foxhole Court. Anyway, that book fascinates me, and I'm not going to read it here, but it is a fascinating, disaster. It is the weirdest, success story for a terrible book that you will ever see in your life. The book, from my understanding, is a trash fire, and people will die for it. The book has very few redeeming qualities artistically, but that doesn't matter because the fan base just loves it unconditionally. There's an episode of Worst Bestsellers, which is a great podcast. You should listen to it. I'll link it below, about Foxhole Court, and you should check it out because it is a fascinating disaster. And I'm I don't want to read that, but the author came out with a fantasy book, which is a lot more my speed. The other one is a contemporary. So I was I'll give this one a try. This one doesn't have as many reads. That's the other fascinating thing. The author of these books just doesn't try and just has success. That's so bizarre. She quietly puts out a book, no fanfare, no announcements, and people flock to it. I just want to know what sort of demon she made a deal with to get this to work.
Well, you got me. By all accounts, it doesn't make sense.
Anyway, what's Elysium about? Evelyn Notes, had 16 years to make Elysium her home, but not by choice. She only survived her husband's betrayal by fusing with the ley line beneath the asylum's foundation. Oh my goodness. Now, rumor has it that Adam is back to his old tricks. And if Adam's alive, maybe there's a chance for the newborn daughter he stole from Evelyn many years ago. The only way out of Elysium is a nightmare buried in its core. Waking him means reigniting the long-stalled war and giving up what is left of her humanity. But Evelyn's not going to lose her daughter again, and she's sure as hell not going to let Adam walk away a second time. Okay, so I think it's an urban fantasy, is my understanding. So it might be interesting. I'm just fascinated by the phenomenon that are the Foxhole Court books and this author. And finally, we have Dream House, which I chose because I found it on a list of books by YouTubers. I don't know who this YouTuber is. It looked like a fiction book on that list, and it looked intriguing enough. It's a horror novel, so I'm into those. So I was like, okay, YouTuber book, give it a shot. Here's the synopsis. Amethyst knows that something is different as soon as she sees it. The house of her dreams is right in front of her, yet she can't bring herself to move a single muscle until the Blooms kindly invite her inside. That sweet elderly couple is so welcoming, just like their home, but after Amethyst has spent her first night there, everything suddenly changes. She finds herself alone, but her path is continuously crossed by strange people, Alfred the gardener, Avery the neighbor, and even the sinister woman who comes at night. Would they happen to know where the Blooms are? Soon enough, what began like a dream turns into a nightmare for Amethyst, who tries to uncover the mystery between the walls of the gorgeous house in White Hills. So yeah, that seemed intriguing. And apparently it was also originally published in Italian, and the translation is not great. So that's exciting. That's something we could look forward to. Just a little refresher, we have Cyborg Tinkerer, The Cabin, Elysium, and Dream House. So vote for which one you want me to read in the comments below, and if you are a patron, go on over to Patreon and vote there, where your vote will count for 2. Patrons have been a huge factor in swinging these votes, but I know we are all excited to get back to read-alongs. Some people only subscribe to my channel for the read-alongs. I'm hoping that someday I can do these more often. I certainly can't say I could do them faster because these things are labor and time intensive, but I at least hope that I won't need as long of a break in between them. Thanks so much for joining me in my darkened living room. Vote down below and I will tell you the winner by this date. Cool? Cool. Cool. All the links to my social media, including my Patreon, are in the doobly-doo. If you want to get ahead of the game and read my book, The Wolf and the Hawk, a fantasy romance, then you can do so. But I have a rule. If you're going to mock my book, you have to read it first. I'm going to read one of these terrible books, so you have to at least read mine if you're gonna make fun of it, alright? Those are the rules here, I'm sorry. And if you want to get some read-along right now, or you want to find out what they are like, check out my previous read-alongs. Link to the playlist will be somewhere and also in the doobly-doo. I hope that you will give them and me a chance. Some of my favorites are The Cellar and The Savior's Sister, so go check those out. You do not need to be familiar with the books to join us for the fun. Thanks everyone for watching, and I will see you again next time with whatever it is we happen to be doing next time. Bye!
Got this! Here's the guy there just in the nick of time! What does that make us?
Big damn heroes, sir!
Ain't we just?
Our big damn heroes for this month are Merween, Kit, Hidden Glade, Persephone, Light Julie, Anna, Belle, and Sophie, Callison, Ray, Shelby, Zaire, Jesper, Irene, Scribbling Cat, Savvy, Jenny, Amanda, Sarah, Lisa, and Lennox. I've had choices since the day that I was born. There were voices that told me right from wrong. If I had listened, no, I wouldn't be here today, living and dying with the choices I've made.